Where Love Finds Home, the city of Portland, Oregon, was known for its rain-soaked streets, cozy coffee shops, and the way the Willamette River shimmered under gray skies. For some, Portland was just a stop on life's long road, but for Emily Collins, it was where she hoped to rebuild her life. At 24, Emily had moved to Portland from Denver after losing both her job and her apartment in the same month. With her savings dwindling, she took a modest position at a small neighborhood bookstore called Harbor and Pine Books. The store smelled of paper and pine wood, with shelves that reached the ceiling and a fireplace that crackled in the corner. To Emily it felt like a sanctuary, a place to heal and start fresh. But she had no idea that this bookstore would lead her to something more than just stability. It would lead her to someone who would redefine what home meant. On her third week at the bookstore, Emily was arranging a display of new releases when the front doorbell chimed. A man stepped in, brushing raindrops from his jacket. He was tall, with chestnut brown hair that curled slightly at the ends and hazel eyes that seemed to hold both kindness and weariness. He walked up to the counter, carrying a damp notebook. "Hi," he said, offering a small smile. "Do you have a quiet spot where I could write for a while?" Emily nodded. "There's a reading nook by the window. Best seat in the house." "Thanks," he said, his voice warm. "I'm Lucas Bennett." "Emily," she replied, returning his smile. From that day on, Lucas became a regular visitor. He always ordered black coffee from the small cafe corner, sat by the window, and scribbled furiously in his notebook. Emily often caught herself stealing glances at him, curious about what he was writing. One evening, as she was shelving books near his corner, she asked, "Are you working on something important?" Lucas chuckled. "A novel. Or at least, I'm trying to." Her eyes lit up. "That's amazing." He looked at her then, really looked, and something unspoken passed between them, a quiet spark neither of them expected. As weeks turned into months, Emily and Lucas began talking more. He told her he had grown up in Portland but left for years, chasing a career in journalism across different states. After burning out from endless deadlines, he returned home, hoping to write something meaningful, a story of his own. Emily, in turn, admitted she had left Denver not just because of losing her job but because she had felt stuck, unfulfilled and lonely. "Sometimes," she said one rainy night as they closed the store together, "home isn't where you come from. It's where you finally feel like you belong." Lucas nodded slowly. "Maybe we're both still searching for that place." Their connection deepened in small, beautiful ways. Lucas began reading chapters of his draft to Emily, and she gave honest feedback. Emily shared her love for children's literature, and Lucas encouraged her to consider writing her own stories one day. They started exploring Portland together, Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, afternoons wandering Powell's City of Books, evenings sipping hot chocolate by the river. Emily found herself laughing again, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Lucas, too, felt something stirring inside him, a warmth he hadn't let himself feel in a long time. But life had a way of testing them. Lucas received an offer from a publishing house in Seattle interested in his novel. It was the break he had dreamed of. At the same time, Emily's parents called, urging her to return to Denver where a family friend had lined up a steady job for her. One night, as they sat on the bookstore's worn leather couch, the fire crackling beside them, Emily whispered, "What if we're not meant to last? What if this is just temporary?" Lucas reached for her hand. "I don't know what the future holds. But I know this. Since I met you, Portland has felt like home again. You make it feel that way." Tears filled her eyes, torn between choosing her future and the man who had quietly become her anchor. The pressure became too heavy. A week later, Emily made a painful decision. "I think I should go back to Denver," she told Lucas one evening, her voice breaking. "My family is worried. And maybe it's the safer choice." Lucas's face fell, though he tried to remain composed. "If that's what you need, I won't stop you." "But I don't want to lose you," she whispered. His voice was quiet. "Sometimes love means letting go, even if it hurts." They parted with one final embrace, the bookstore's warmth suddenly feeling unbearably cold. Emily returned to Denver, taking the job her parents arranged. The days were steady but dull, each one blending into the next. She often found herself reaching for her phone, tempted to call Lucas, but fear held her back. Lucas moved to Seattle, revising his novel for publication. He poured himself into his work, but every page seemed to echo Emily's laughter, her kindness, the way she made rainy days brighter. Though they were miles apart, they carried each other like shadows. A year later, fate intervened. Harbor and Pine Books announced online that it was closing, unable to survive rising costs. Both Emily and Lucas, separately, saw the post. Memories flooded back, pulling them to Portland once more. On the final day, Emily walked into the store, her chest tight as she took in the empty shelves. She ran her hand along the old wood, whispering, "Thank you," as if the bookstore itself had given her everything she didn't know she needed. "Emily," a voice said behind her. She turned, and there was Lucas, standing in the very spot where they had first met. Her heart skipped. Lucas. For a moment time seemed to stop. They sat in the quiet store, surrounded by the smell of old books. "I thought I was doing the right thing," Emily confessed, tears in her eyes. "But I've been lost without you." Lucas's voice was soft but firm. "I chased success, but it felt empty without you. Emily, you weren't just part of my story. You are my story." Her heart swelled, hope flickering like the first flame of a fire. "Do you think we could start over?" He reached for her hand, holding it tightly. "We don't have to start over. We just have to keep going. Together." Emily chose to return to Portland, this time not for survival but for love and belonging. Lucas stayed too, publishing his novel while helping her open a small children's book section in a new store they co-managed together. On rainy nights, they often sat by the window, sipping cocoa, watching the city lights blur through the glass. "Funny," Emily said one evening, leaning against him. "I came here trying to find a place to call home." Lucas kissed her forehead gently. "And you found me." For them, home wasn't a city, a building, or even a bookstore. It was the steady heartbeat of love that refused to fade, the spark that turned strangers into soulmates. Because in the end, home isn't where you live. It's where love finds you. And together, Emily and Lucas had finally found where love finds home.